Hello and welcome to the Cellar, and we are talking today about posture. See, I still did it. All right, so posture in itself, I'm looking at Physiopedia. All right, and Physiopedia says posture is a highly individual and dynamic aspect of human physiology. It is more about how your body adapts and interacts with different situations than a fixed, correct, or incorrect state. Posture can be simply defined as the way in which we hold our bodies while standing, sitting, or lying down. All right. So, with that said, before we get into spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical posture, which is the earth realm, the water realm, the mercurial sword realm, and then the spiritual realm, right? Those four, which is fire, right? So before we get into those, I just want to make sure that each and every one of you know before I start rambling off that wherever you are, right, where you are, where you find yourself is where you are, right? So the thing about that is this is going to um, register with each of you different, with standing on your square and being able to know exactly where you are, where you've come from, what it is that governs you, the laws that govern you at this time when it comes to the life cycle that you are in, the life phase that you are in at this time. And like for some of you, the spiritual um, um, being able to maintain a spiritual posture may just be that you have been initiated into a new realm of things and using your art or doing things in a certain type of way with your spiritual practices. Maybe you moved out of the space where you were connecting to your team, and now you're in a space where you are utilizing that by being mindful, present, and aware in your everyday situations and knowing what type of thoughts and energies that need to be disregarded, not paid attention to, because they will have you shift in the spiritual beliefs that you've cultivated and refined. So, you see, so that may be where some people are. Some people may be in a space when it comes to their spiritual posture where they have gotten into a space where they have released and let go of so many material things that they are balancing more in, they are living more in their spiritual aspect than not, but they still have to balance the practical side of things. What does that mean to you? How does that equate to balancing the spiritual and the practical realms? Okay, let's do it like that. Okay. So those things are those things are very important, but they will be telling depending on where each of you are on your path, right? There's not one size fits all, right? That's always been a huge to do when it comes to people wanting to learn so much about what's going on. And I was thinking earlier, I was like, because I made the comment and I that comment kept coming up, but I made a comment about, early in life, I did a lot of watching movies and TV shows and all of those things, right? It wasn't until later in life that I began to read. And so things can be backwards for me, I've learned, but also that also equates to where you are led, you are fed, excuse me, especially when it comes to this work. You want to be mindful and ask, what is it that you need to know at this time? Because I do remember back when there was that huge elevation of people in the conscious community coming in with so much information and talking about Egypt and all of these foreign lands and all of those things, and I just did not. It didn't resonate with me at that time, and the reason it didn't resonate with me at that time because I needed to master some other space, right? So it was like that. I wasn't drawn to that, and then the time came later after that where I got into it, but I wasn't into it to the point where. Um, I was making that information my life. It touched and threaded nicely or weaved nicely into the fabric of my being, right? The cloth that I'm cut from, right? So the cloth that I'm cut from does, like you, have many layers. But if you try to layer something, like if you try to place a layer learn something new that isn't supposed to be layered in the space that it was divine. There's a divine layer, and then there's the ego layer. So if the ego allows for you to try and place something on top of a layer that you've already mastered, that doesn't connect to your purpose, connect to who you are, it can cause an issue. And what happens is you are weaving, trying to weave something into your cloth that does not make sense. So that's why some people that you may run into, they may know a lot of things and have experienced a lot of things, but when it comes to like, what is your purpose? How does this connect to your purpose? They're unable to identify that. Or you notice that a lot of people who know a lot of things don't know why they still don't know why they are here, because they are not going where they are led, right? Because you are divinely led when you tap in. So the thing about that is that we learn, instead of having patchy fabric, we allow ourselves to gently be guided into the different realms. The sooner we learn this, the better, right? It's a natural course of action. That's kind of like when people go to college and they try to go to college for something that the family, this is in the bloodline, and they be upset. They become upset. They become depressed. They become, um, a lot of mental issues occur. A lot of vengeance occurs, or they feel as though, they've been forced into something because they weren't allowed to weave their fabric in a way that equates to divine weaving, and not just the programming or conditioning of the bloodline, because more than likely they were drawn to something else. They wanted to do. That's why a lot of creatives don't get to be their best them, because they are worried about what people say, people think. Maybe they have certain people funding the way that they're supposed to do certain things, and that holds them back, instead of just going out, taking that leap of faith, that fool's journey. I don't know what's on the other side of this. It feels right. It resonates with my soul. Let me get on the go. All right. So anyways, so let's get started. So when we disconnect from our primary light source, it causes issues in our posture. All right, it causes issue in our posture on any of the levels. So that's why we make sure that we recenter and refocus, and wherever it is, wherever it's showing up. Is it showing up in your body? Is it showing up in your mood? Is it showing up in how you move about in the world physically? Is it showing up in you spiritually? Is it showing up in you mentally? What is causing an imbalance with your connected to the primary light source? The primary light source is the Most High, whatever that is in your religion or belief, that has to do with connecting with loving energy, graceful energy, protective energy. Okay, service, energy of abundance, energy of this is massive, right? But it's very narrow. And I was reading something in the other day that said the light side of things, when people choose the light side, it's a narrow path. And it's a very interesting path, because you are very much so guided, right? But when you choose the dark path or the other path, the polarity, right, it's very expansive. And the reason that it's expansive is because those things that fill the ego are on that side. So there is a wide range of ways that people connect to darker entities and energies. They connect more to um, things of this world, right? And it's not always that, but for the most part, it is. Okay. And so what happens is, when it comes to choosing the path of light, oftentimes people become frustrated because when things aren't feeling, or they don't see, feel, hear, any of the senses aren't picking up the light path the way that it may have in one instance in their life, they don't understand that you have to tap back in and pick up the information. This is within you. Do work on your inner world. What shadow aspects are being brought out when the light seems as though it's dim to you, right? So sometimes people, say, forget that. I don't have time for that. And they try to stray. And what they do is they stray here, and it's so vast, and it's so um there's so many different ways to have something fulfilled in this realm, that people stick to that side, whether they know it or not. So it's very important to remember that when it comes to um, our intuition and our connection, that's the primary. Your spiritual connection is one of the most important, because you will be tapped in and be able to use your discernment like that, and be able to tap in and get the answers to questions that you didn't know that you had, get the answers to questions that are very important. Sometimes people want answers to some of the most mundane things when all it takes is a little common sense. um, that's why it's good for some of you to have a mentor, counselor, therapist, whatever that is, to help you with honing your discernment by helping you to pinpoint what may be a roadblock for you. All right. So when it comes to your mental, your logic, the story processor, the mental can pick up a lot of subconscious energy, information. It can pick up a lot of course, processing some of the more abstract things of the spiritual information. So you have to be very balanced when it comes to what information is making sense to you, because making sense to me and making sense to you may be two totally different things, and you got to be okay with that, right? And learn how not to have to explain things that make sense to you all the time, because the more that you try to explain something, someone may have a totally different um, view of what you are explaining and what you are saying, right? To try to convince you to be or say what it is that their intentions are. That's not how this works. When the emotional steps in, it's important to know what information is coming through. Like this is the equivalent of when someone may be attacking you. You may begin to feel sad out of nowhere. And it's like, that is, what the fuck? That is not mine. What is going on? Because it's a weird thing. It's just like, where did this sadness come from? It's one thing, like, if something comes up and you know that that's a part of something that you are going through or have been through. When you are emotionally tapped in, you know that that is not yours, right? It's like knowing, like, this don't taste like Fiji water. Okay, when it comes to your emotional intelligence, this isn't right. Something isn't right about that. Some of you may be taking some emotional intelligence courses, learning to emotionally regulate as well, because this has a lot to do with your emotional posture, and your emotions feed um, your intentions. When it comes to anything that you set your mind to, the emotions must be there as well. The spirit is always willing, and as long as you are spiritually connected and very much so using your life force energy in a way that is indicative of that love, light, grace, the human race, you'll be fine. Okay. When it comes to the physical is flexible, and the physical is land. You are the land. But the thing about you being the land, if you will look at it like this, we are made from dust, and I've always said that this is a tree or what have you. Okay. But we do come from dirt. We go back to dirt. It's proven in every damn casket that you open that, okay, they just turned to dust. Your bones don't, but your skin and organs and all of that turns into dust. So it depends on what you believe and what you've read. But the four corners of the earth, we are created from the four corners of the earth, right? Which also gives that oneness and that togetherness in its own sense. But that's neither here nor there. So there's that being created from those four corners of the earth, so that no matter where you are buried, no matter where it is that you die, you will be accepted back into the land, which means that you will also be accepted back into the genetic coding of those who come after you as well. So that's the physical ramifications of being balanced and making sure that you are doing the right things for the right reasons, in conjunction with your purpose, or where your standing, your legal standing in the space that you are in. The physical realm is the doing realm, the enjoying the fruits of the spiritual, mental, and emotional realm. Okay, so that's why it also goes into love what you do, and put love into all that you do, right? Okay, so the connection to your primary source of light must be continuous, with a constant flow of gentleness, ease, and grace. Let me repeat that. The connection to your primary source of light, the Most High God, angels, ancestors of the highest order, or what have you, whatever your beliefs are, must be continuous, with a constant flow of gentleness, ease, and grace. When you become disconnected from your light, you become anxious, confused, weary, fearful, etc., etc., et al. Because if you are really in a space of love and light, you will be much of a grace to yourself as well as others. You'll have so much compassion or what have you. And it's let's say that it's 80 to 90% of the time, because you have the right, you are human and you're still growing. You have a right for those other days, the off days, or what have you. Like I call them act up days. It's a day to act up. Okay, my inner child wants to run wild and act up, be creative. Okay. So you tap into the root cause of any disturbances on the spiritual, mental, or emotional or physical level, any of the realms. If there's any disturbances, come to terms quickly with them, right? What is it? I think it's Matthew 25. Come to terms quickly with your opponent at your earliest opportunity, so that your opponent does not hand you over to the judge to the guard, and you are thrown into prison, which is, that prison can be mental confinement. That prison can be spiritual confinement. That prison can be emotional confinement. That prison could be something in the practical sense. Now then, recenter and refocus the area you have begun to slump in. All right. That's why the 90-day journey to mindfulness, it really, like everything that I teach, it really does go with what you are learning about yourself in that journal. But that's neither here nor there. I have to start back because some of you do have the journal, and this stuff will also help you to see in your writings where it is that you need the help, right? What is it that you are observing, but how are you observing it? What is it that how many times do you have to consciously recenter versus subconsciously recenter, right? That's the natural way of recentering. But you do have clarity about the way that you subconsciously recenter, because it could be something from old ways of doing things that you now have to recenter in a different way. Case in point, let's say, for instance, someone who has been causing you issues, and your subconscious way of recentering when in their presence is to just be quiet, or I don't want to ruffle any feathers because this person really goes off the rails. Well, how long are you going to do that? Right? So that may be one way that you subconsciously recenter, that has more to do with your response to someone that's intimidating you, versus, that's that turn the other cheek, right? But how long do you turn the other cheek? Okay. So that goes into, no, I need a new way to subconsciously recenter, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start to speak my truth, or with this person, right? Whatever that is. So things show up differently, but we have to grow, because in that 90-day journey to mindfulness, if you notice that you're handling the same situations the same way over and over again, but you're getting the same results, it's time to move to something else, right? Because it's only so much that a coworker can try to start shit with you, to the point where you're just, I'm just not gonna give in to it, and this and that. I'm gonna turn up. Well, there comes a time when you gotta let a bitch know that, I don't know who you think you're talking to. And I don't know why you're talking to me in that tone, in that manner. And you let them know that I'm not going to put up with that. Okay. Now then you have take action when time permits, or when you permit time. So that means that when it's time for you to audit the way that you are receiving information and insight on something that's out of balance, you are not on your square the way that you should, because we're on our square, but we always have to stand with our foot in a pivot, because there's a different way of doing things and the instructions come in. It's a natural the information is natural, the way that it pours in when it comes to pivoting. The spiritual and practical balance, right? The positive wire, the negative wire. When you think about batteries, everything is a battery. Man, woman, masculine, feminine. It's a battery. It's a polarity. Calm down. All right. So you have to remember that the positive wire is connected to the battery. The positive wire is connected to the source. The negative wire is connected outside of that battery. Usually it's on the side of the car in a screw or something like that. That's the grounding wire. So that's why we have to be balanced in our when it comes to spiritual and practical, but as well as shadow and light. We have to bring the shadow to the light, to empower ourselves, as well as to release things that no longer serve us, in a number of ways, with a number of plays. Now, Regulating your four postures. Mental posture can be, all of these postures can be regulated, and it's up to you, because where you are led is where you are fed. I was reading something earlier where someone said that they were a vegan for a year, and they finally ate meat and they didn't go back, and they found out that their blood type had to do with, they had to have meat. But also Vedic astrology will tell you that as well. It'll back up science when it comes to your diet. So the diet really does, even though I put it in mental posture, it does happen to equate to all of them. The diet, the water intake or what have you, the fluids, and all of that, because the fluids have a lot to do with how you receive and release information in the body as well as in the astral. But with the mental posture, this is clarity of desires, clarity of aligning with your true north of the heart, mind, and throat. The mind sits upright and it's very direct when it's not wandering or feeling into the undesirables. The mind is feeling in the undesirables when something emotional comes to play, and it confuses your logic. So you have to be very mindful. The spiritual posture has to do with clear connection, um, the divine connection, the spiritual forces, the vital life force energy. It feeds the mind instructions when the posture is sitting, and information for the highest good. The four points of protection cover the spiritual posture. So we have Archangel Michael at our right. We have Archangel Gabriel at our left. We have Raphael at our back. We have Uriel in front of us, and we have the Shekinah energy over the crown. All right. So the spiritual posture is very important to maintain as best you can. The spiritual expands and transmute at command. All right. So you don't want to get too lazy or too caught up in, oh, I know I'm protected. You have to constantly do the work. And I was talking to one of my favorite witches about 2 weeks ago. And she was like, you have to do this and do that. And I was like, shit. She came in just reminding me of stuff. I know that I do, because I know over the years, I've told y'all when I first got into this work, it was like I like taking naps, but that's that Pisces escapism, right? I like being in other realms than just here because it's so boring. But the work that I came here to do, I have to stay on my 10. And so that's what I'm here to tell you as well, because even though I'm knowing all of these things, it doesn't hurt when someone comes in and reminds me of something. I accept that. I don't have to tell them, oh, yeah, I know that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just has to continuously be reaffirmed, and it hits something in you that propels you forward, right? So just remember that you never get um, become sidetracked or think that you are in a space where this is it, that's all, because there's constant growth in this realm and the others as well. And the more that we master what it is that we came to master in this realm, it will also be of benefit to us when we cross. Now remember, people who um no, when you're in your dream state and you can control things in your dream state, you're very good at controlling those things in your reality as well. If no one told you, I'm here to tell you. So you need to start working on it and doing it. Boop. All right, so let's get into the emotional. The emotional posture is about working effectively. Oh, wait a minute. When working effectively with the emotional posture, it is steadfast, unshakable by the multitudes of interference. No matter how much something comes in, your emotional grounding, the feminine energy, on the mundane level, it would be things like the heart chakra, the sacred chakra, a combination of the crown chakra, which is masculine and feminine, right? The soul star chakra, the universal star chakra, so on and so forth, right? So when you are in balance here, as far as you can have been working, you see, the emotional posture connects the spirit and mind to bring things to reality. When balanced and aligned with the others, the emotions project your wishes into your will and are used as a vehicle to make things happen that align with your purpose. All right. And that also goes into those of you who do transcendental meditations and what have you. I have my thoughts about any of those, especially if people are learning certain things before it's time. But that's not my business. And I need to stop. I need to stop, Donna. Donna said, You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. All right. And then there's the physical posture. Work with what you have and take care of your physical realm the same as you do the others. Do the work you are called to bring balance into your life with, right? So if you're called to exercise more, and it's like, but if I exercise more, then I won't be able to go to do swing dancing. But if you don't exercise, bitch, you won't be swing dancing for long. Now then, the physical posture is the housing for all the others. When all are upright, comfortable, and maintained for the task at hand, magic happens. All right. The physical realm is just as vast as the astral, but with conditions, much more conditions here in the physical than the spiritual. And sometimes people get wrapped up in trying to make things in the practical more spiritual. What I mean by that is we all want to be in a communal, well, not all of us, but most of us want to be in a communal where we're helping each other and doing that in a sense of a spiritual community. And this person is growing the fruits and vegetables. This person is we have a lawyer, we have a judge in our community, we have nurses in our community, we have blacksmiths in our community. We have all these different people in the community to help to bring forth the spirituality. Everyone is in their position and they don't have to overdo their position, and that way everyone is balanced in the community. But since we can't live in that spiritual community, because that is a spiritual community overall, um, and I just really see it as something where you got the people who go out and get water from the well and bring it back to the village, right? In those communities, it's more spiritual, it's more peaceful. People want that, but it's kind of hard in the West to get that or do that, since there's so much hustle and bustle, there's so much interference, there's so much being done in the astral by workers of iniquities. So it's just a lot. Stresses me out because I don't understand why people can't just be at peace with what they got going on and do them. But that's neither here nor there. So I think that's it, y'all. Anything that disconnected from the light causes distortion in your primary posture and standing in the world. So I did discuss that over and over, but I just want to make it clear that it's so important. It's so important to stand on your square. Your square has a lot to do with mastering of the realms. And even with those four archangels surrounding you in that sense, it's helping you to really stand on your square as best you can where you are, because you don't have all of the information until your next initiation. Okay. But the wisdom of Archangel Michael, the power and the balance your Raphael brings, right? That's huge. Uriel standing in front of you to help you to avoid any calamities and utilize the wisdom and also the logic. It's just so much. All right. Connecting with the Shekinah consciousness. I don't know if they have those kind of meditations. I didn't look. But we do have a Capricorn full moon. Venus is doing something. The girls in astrology are just okay, giving out. I haven't looked at Venus and Capricorn yet. Full moon in Capricorn. But I'm pretty sure whatever it is that we are talking about right now is going to have a lot to do with what is to come. And I think it's next weekend. Is it next weekend? Can't remember. What information do you have for us here in the cellar? Tribe of the Kindred. Okay. It's a number 10. It's a new beginning. It's on you to take the action that's necessary to jump. Jump. Crisscross will make you jump. Jump. The daddy make her make you jump. Hey, okay. It's beautiful. I'm really all for it. But in this day and age, you can't build a community without the other community trying to come in and tear down the community, because that's that left hand path, that dark path. That's all it is. That's all they see is let's disrupt, let's cause issues, let's stop this. I should have thought of this. Yours is not bigger than mine. Like, bro, go the fuck away. So let's carry. She says, "I carry your heart. I carry it in mine." And there's a meditation that I want to share with you all that I've been doing to put me myself back into balance when it comes to dealing with um, complicated people. Right. After that dark night of the soul that I had, I really just, that's where I went into. This is just all a part of my process. It's all a process. This is a part of my process. But also that namaste, getting back into namaste, right? But the meditation that I do has a lot to do with just, I see the love in you. I see the light in you, right? And the your higher self, because I'd rather speak with someone's higher self than the one that's tied up in this realm, because the conversation really don't be going nowhere. I don't be talking about nothing. I be want to talk about stuff. All right, but not a whole lot. In my younger years, I just love just talking about going in depth, right? I used to smoke a little green, and people be like, they used to tell my sister, like, I want to, where your sister at? She be telling some good stuff when she be on that green. And that's, yep, now I'm remembering something. But yeah, I don't do that shit no more. Not, well, of course, not the green, but I don't go all dip into all these different spaces and things like that, because why should I have to be the only me I'm talking to? You know what I'm saying? If I'm feeding you information, what is the feedback? You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it on the level, because sometimes people try to give feedback, and I can tell that they are just trying to step outside of um, conversations that they're used to having, and saying some things that um, maybe to pander a little bit, and that don't work with me. um, but yeah, and the people who really do have information that we could bounce off of each other, they don't share, they don't talk or share or whatever. Not big to me, huge to me, because back then it was, though, like, for real. It became that home is where the heart is. I be goddamn okay. Home is where the heart is. Give your heart permission to reveal to you the people, places, and activities that feel like home for you. All right? Stay away from people that don't. I'm just saying, it's so much out here that is going on. So many people give so much time to others and hand their power over to others, that they don't realize that you are really off your square. You are not being your authentic self. You're not living up to your true and authentic cloth. You trying to let somebody else. That's the equivalent of me telling some saying that I don't really this dress, I don't know, and somebody taking the dress and altering it in a space. They make it shorter, they make it cinch at the waist more, and now I really don't like the motherfucker. So why would I wear what somebody else is trying to create for me, when the divine stitching of my core, the core of my being, the divine stitching in which I am, um, living, breathing, and experiencing, has more to do with the Most High, the Creator. So why would I allow myself to be in a situation where someone is trying to mold me into what they want? Someone is trying to um, dim my light. Someone is trying to get me off track, off path. Shit, I be damn. All right. So you are in a place of transition in your life, casting off that which is not true to your heart in favor of that which really feels like it belongs in your world. Sometimes the mind resists, thinking that if we let go too much, we'll be left with nothing, nada, zilch, zero. It's a lie hole. This prevents you from being able to find your way home. I told you. It's safe to trust your heart as it attracts into your world that which is truly meant for you. Okay? There's a place where you belong, and you need to figure it out. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like the primary source of light. Ain't nothing but love in there. Ain't nothing but comfort in there. Ain't nothing but resilience in there. Ain't nothing but connection to the divine in there. The network expands when you are connected to the divine. Okay. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to find it. What matters is that you believe you deserve a real home for your beautiful heart, and that you don't give up until what you are the fuck there. Sometimes that means leaving what you had once hoped would be your home, perhaps more than once, until you find it in the truest, most meaningful, and enduring way. The quest for intimate, soul deep belongings begins with who the fuck you. With learning to love and care for yourself and to feel at home within your being, child. Here's the sacred ritual for you. Place one hand on your heart and say the following invocation aloud. Shout out to lovely personess. I call upon my kindred soul tribe, my spiritual family, the true home for my heart, May we be blessed to find, recognize, and love each other at the perfect moment in the most beautiful way. I'm going to say it again. Lovely birds. I call upon my kindred soul tribe, my spiritual family, the true home for my heart. May we be blessed to find, recognize, and love each other at the perfect moment in the most beautiful way. Mm. I really like it. It's really cute. You know what I mean? It's really cute, bitch. I ain't got my lashes and stuff on today. Probably be on tomorrow. Bridgerton come on tonight, so y'all getting this a little early. Whatever. Y'all know the vibes. I ain't trying to hurt it. Yesterday I had to take me a little rest and relaxation, okay? It's like, woof. I gotta get and maintain, maintain with the, eh, maintain with the, eh, eh. Okay, I'm finna go. All right. So I love y'all, and I will see y'all in about a minute. Mm. Mm-hmm.